Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be my final video of the year where I am ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried. I tried 56. You know, the first time I did this video, I think I had like 105 palettes that I tried for the year. So I've definitely slowed down on all the eyeshadow palettes that I've been testing. Now, a lot of these were from purchases that I did in 2023 and in 2024. Not a ton of these are new releases. Actually, the top two released this year, strangely enough. That's just how it worked out. Now, I have changed the way that I've done my swatches, and I think I've gotten better. I think I've perfected it a little bit when I do these cutaways. So I do show you guys close-ups of the color stories in addition to showing you swatches on all of the palettes. Now, some of the older swatches of the palettes that I tested earlier in the year, they're not so great, okay? I really am like just now getting to the point of like, okay, I realize like how I want to swatch things. Anyway, that's like a side note, but I do show you guys close-ups on all of these. Now, some of these are not single swatches, so even if I talk badly about it, some of them I'm really having to build up in the cutaways so that you guys can really see the color. So let's get into the ranking, you guys. I always start off with the worst palette that I tried for the year and rank it all the way up to my favorite, which I am wearing on my eyes right now. This lip combo is going to be an absolute nightmare the whole video because I can see it like transferring to my teeth. I have never done a solid black lip and then topped it with a gloss, but I felt like I wanted to do that in today's video because I bought this for myself. It's the Is Mine matte liquid lip and I got it on Amazon. Not even sure like where this is made. It doesn't appear to be like C Beauty or K Beauty. And I topped it with the Diamond Shimmer High Shine Gloss from Queen Cosmetics in the shade Astral Projection, which kind of has a green flip. And I kind of thought that it would look good, but man, like trying not to get this matte liquid lip to transfer to your teeth is just wild. So if you guys see it, like any part throughout the video, take a shot and get drunk. That's all I can say. I had to wipe it from my teeth so many times. It might have been a bad choice, but that's what's happening. So, okay. Starting at the very bottom, and you guys, I will throw up the numbers up on the screen for you. This is from Notoriously Morbid. It's the Unearthly Aura palette. Now, a lot of these probably aren't even available for sale. If I know that they still are, and if I have a discount code, I will try and say it as I'm going through the ranking. Now, if you guys have heard me talk about Notoriously Morbid's formula, you already know where this is going. This is an overall very strange formula. I have always said that. This one I think is going for an all shimmer look, although some of these look to be more on like the satin side. So initially I thought I would try these as satin shades, kind of these ones in the second to bottom row here, but they're mostly shimmers. They're just kind of like a metallic shimmer and just not extra sparkly or foily. But the Notoriously Morbid formula, I still can't understand. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know if it's just like because they're all hand pressed, but the glitter shadows, they crumble, they don't stick to the eyes, they don't swatch well. The ones that are more metallic formula or like a softer shimmer, they're powdery and they fall apart. I want to talk more about their formulations as I get to some of the other palettes. Now, I bought a bunch of these palettes all at once thinking they were affordable. I think that they were on sale. It took me several years to test them. So the three palettes that I have ranked today are the last three that I have in my collection because I've talked about this brand just having a very strange formulation. And here I am still talking about it. But these are the final three palettes. I just can't understand this formula. It never performs for me. The shimmers, even though they look light reflecting in the pan, they're not very usable. They're very difficult to work with. Again, they like swatch out and then they start to crumble and then the swatch fades. You don't get any more. They look terrible on the eyes. Yeah, this one is just an all shimmer palette, so it was less useful than the next two. I'm just not a fan of this formulation. I've even heard some of you guys say a very similar thing, that it's just kind of strange overall. I think the packaging is cute. I mean, there's stickers and all that, and it looks like, you know, AI generated art, but I don't know. This could have been done by somebody, and that would have been pretty cool. Not a formulation that I care for. It ranked in the bottom because this is an all shimmer palette, and I hate literally every single shimmer. I think we're doing okay on the teeth. It's a brave combo, I think. All right, coming in next is Paint the Town Red, again by Notoriously Morbid. The reason that this one and the next one rank where they did is because they are a mixed shimmer with matte palette. And so it was a little bit more usable, but it's the same thing. The mattes are genuinely like powder. They crumble, they don't swatch well. The shimmers, they're sparkly, but they're very chunky, like there's no binding oils in them. They're very difficult to work with. And every single time I put a look together with this palette and the next palette, by the end of the day, my eyes are a mushy mess. The colors don't stay even with set eyes. They start looking patchy and fade in different areas, and then the colors just blend together. It is not a good look. It was like 2 of my worst eye days when I tested these palettes, and I forced myself to test them knowing that I didn't like the Notoriously Morbid formula. So that's why this one landed where it did. These will end up getting decluttered, and if you guys are interested, you guys stay tuned, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. I'm gonna have an eyeshadow palette declutter sometime in the beginning of January, simply because a lot of these palettes I save for ranking, but some of them are not going to stay in my collection. Next up, and last one from Notoriously Morbid, is the Bog Witch palette. The color story here is so much better than the other two. Wait till you see it. It's just a grungy deliciousness, and not only do you have like 3 different colored like shimmers, you also have like a pink sparkly one too, which I think is just like a fun pop. But this one was, even though it's the best color story, was the worst looking on my eyes at the end of the day. It's such a beautiful monochromatic color story that I had to rank this here, but it left my eyes the most muddy and the most patchy by the end of the day. This one quite truly was like one of the worst performing. I don't understand why the shades are so powdery like they are, even if they're hand pressed. I've used other hand pressed shadows in the past. These just flake, fall apart. They feel like a setting powder, not an eyeshadow. That's truly what they feel like. So huge disappointment from all of the Notoriously Morbid palettes I've tried. Coming in next, also a huge disappointment, and so glad I never spent my own money on it, is the Smashbox Always On Mood Board. This one is in Fiery Vibes. This is a 8-pan palette that is extremely boring. I think this retails for $39. I'm not kidding you guys. It's either $39 or $29. I don't know, but either way, that is way too high a price point for this palette. It's warm toned. It's okay. I got it in an advent calendar. Thought I'd give it a go. Boring formula. Nothing standoutish. Price point is absolutely terrible. And the formula is so standard. Why would you charge this much money for such a standard formula? And I think when they dropped these, and I want to say they dropped in 24 or 25, they came out with 3 or 4 different color stories, which I think is just wild that like anyone would spend this kind of money walking into Ulta for 8 shades of something so standard. Like go to ColourPop, you can spend a fraction of the price, probably get a similar color story and better quality. So yeah, this was a huge disappointment. The reason that it ranked here and not like at the very end is because Notoriously Morbid isn't even wearable for me. Smashbox, it's wearable. It's just very boring, very mid formula for a very high price point. Coming in next is from Clarity Cosmetics. It's the Stained Glass palette. I like this color story, even though it's super duper deep and dark. Like I like it. I really enjoy like a very deep look sometimes, especially when you have like a very multi-chrome, multicolored white shimmer that just pops on the eyes. But very similar to Notoriously Morbid, Clarity Cosmetics has a very unusual formula. And now I've heard that they've stepped up in some of their formulations in their newer palettes, but I just been so jaded by Clarity Cosmetics, I don't know if I could spend any more money on any of their palettes. This is the newest one that I have from their drops, and I want to say this came out last year. The reason is that the shimmers are sandy. It feels like they have none or virtually no binding oils in them. When you touch them, I have had shades fall out of the pan on me. They literally crumble right out onto the floor. 2 of them are like that for me. The other 2 are nice. Also, I'm not a huge fan of the matte formulation. Very pigmented in Clarity Cosmetics. I will give them that, and that I really do like in their palettes. The problem is they always come out patchy on me, and the more pigmented and the more patchy, the harder they are to work with. If a shade is a little bit more desaturated and it's patchy, it's easier to work with. You know, you can kind of just keep blending. Shades like this, like pack and go, and then no, deeper shades should not, I think, be patchy like that. I love the shimmers, but again, Clarity Cosmetics formula generally lets me down. I have such a hard time working with it. I never get a look that looks good. I struggle. Like the color stories of Clarity oh my god, I almost dropped that. The color story of Clarity Cosmetics is so good. I have loved so many of their color stories that I think it's just like a shame that they have this formulation, quite honestly. Now this one I liked a little bit better, but still from Clarity Cosmetics. It's the Lily palette. This is also the very last one of this brand that I've tried. Color story is delicious. You've got a multi-chrome that flips orange to green. I like this color story overall. There's like things that work here. You've got a lighter orange and a darker orange with orange shimmers, and same thing with like this very teal or kind of like aqua shades. Like there's things that match here and they kind of can work in quads. The only thing I don't love about this particular one is the matte formulation. I think again, those purple shades, patchy, just really patchy on me. And those two purple shades are way too similar. I think that the shimmer formula in this entirely improved. And I want to say this is like one of the ones that they reformulated. They redid and relaunched. This didn't initially look like these square pans in the Lily palette, if I am not mistaken. So the shimmer formula in here, I think, improved. Again, I just struggle with the mattes. And because the deepening shades are purple, and oftentimes I would pair that orange shade or even the aqua shade with the purple shade, then my looks suck because those two purple shades, too similar. Oh, also the purple shades hard panned on me almost immediately. Those are the only two in the palette that hard panned were the two purple shades, and those are the ones I try and use in the outer corner. So again, not a fan of all of these. These would all go. This next group here, they're good. They're not great. I think a lot of them have to do with color story versus quality. The next one up is one that you can't get. This has been gone. It was a Boxy Charm exclusive. It's called the Hello Charmer palette, and my friend at work gave it to me because she knows I love eyeshadow, and she got it in a Boxy Charm long time ago, and she just doesn't wear eyeshadow that often to keep something like this around. I actually think the quality is okay on this. I think the color story is absolutely wild. You have like cool tone shimmers with very warm tone matte shades, and there's two shades in the mattes that are very, very similar. Again, very strange pairing of shimmers to mattes in here, and you get one pressed glitter. I kind of like the pressed glitter actually. It's really pretty. I think it actually performs well as pressed glitters go. It's just a very, very wild color story. Not a lot in here makes sense. You don't even have like a deep black matte shade for those two blue shimmers. I don't understand what you're supposed to pair them with. And even one of them isn't like full blue. It's a purple that flips blue. So yeah, kind of weird. I think that the gold shimmer looks okay with these warm tones, but there wasn't a lot that I could do with this. And I feel like the shimmers that do make sense with the mattes in here, the looks that I kept putting together just looked very similar. So I don't know, just like not overall like a totally versatile palette for me. I think the quality was just fine. All right, the next one up is from Pink Crush Cosmetics. It's the Romance palette. You know, there's nothing wrong with this color story, and there's a good number of mattes to shimmers to it. It's just a very desaturated palette, and it's kind of boring. That's the only reason that it's here, is that it's kind of boring. And you know, you need kind of boring palettes in your collection. I just think I have better quality boring palettes in my collection. You know, like I don't want to say boring as like though it's bad. You just need your neutrals to go to work. Like I feel like you need that if you have to tone it down sometimes. And I think this is a very toned down palette, and the shimmers are not even light reflecting. They're very like wedding or office appropriate, you know? Those kind of very standard, non-reflective satin shimmers. That's kind of what I think of them as. And the mattes here are just super desaturated. The deeper matte shades, they don't build up a ton of pigment in the outer corner. So, you know, I don't think you're taking this palette to the end. I think it's just very, you know, kind of standard. And for a standard palette, again, very desaturated. So for a very neutral, very wearable palette, I feel like I have better quality. So that's why this ranked here. All right, the next one up, I think I got this in PR from Judy Doll. It's the Play Color All-in-One palette for your full face. And I don't know what color story this is in, but it'll be linked in the description box. This is fine. It's fine. There's two shimmers in here, which are pretty cool. And then one that I would even like consider like a highlighter. And I traveled with this a couple of times. Not bad. The one sparkly brown shimmer is actually pretty, and I wore that a bunch on my eyes. It's honestly not a bad palette. Even the kind of burgundy or warmer toned brown shade is really pretty for the outer corner. Very, very neutral. And this one is like more pigmented, I think, than the Romance palette, as it were, from Pink Crush Cosmetics. it's just a little boring palette, and it didn't knock my socks off the way that some little boring palettes will, for one reason or another. The mattes are just super good and super blendable, or there's just like a couple of shimmers in there that just like make this palette delicious. It was like just okay. So that's why it ranked here. It wasn't bad, and I really did enjoy the neutral looks that I was getting from it. I do think I have a discount code with Judy Doll. It'll be linked in my affiliate links in case you guys are interested in checking anything else out. You know, they have a ton of stuff like outside of eyeshadow palettes that I think are really good. Lip products, like there's a bunch of things that they do well. I don't know, eyeshadow palettes or an all-in-one face palette, you know, not necessarily their best in my opinion. All right, next up is from Gloss Gods. This is from the Creators Collection. This is the Lychee palette. I think these are fine. These are, again, very wearable, very neutral palettes. This one ranked here because of that pop of pink in the middle. I never could place it right with the deeper mattes, and there's only one deeper matte. And some of the shimmers weren't my favorite, and I usually don't go for like super hot pinks in the outer corner. What I'm wearing on my eyes today is typically as like red or as deeper burgundy as I will go in the outer corner. I don't know. I just had a hard time with the Lychee shade, just kind of placing it. And these are very satin shimmers, so there's nothing spectacular about them, nothing super light reflecting. Again, it's very office or wedding appropriate. So to me, it's a little bit boring, and it's very, very heavy on the shimmers. There's only 3 mattes in here, so it's off to me in a 9 pan, especially because a light transition shade, a deeper brown shade, and then kind of a mid-tone pink. I don't know, I guess you could wear them all together and that might be nice. I did a couple of times, I don't know. I didn't love the way that it looked, and so it's just kind of an overall very neutral palette, and there's so many other palettes I have in my collection. I love Gloss Gods, so it's not like a formulation thing. I think it was just kind of like a boring color story, and also the shimmers just weren't super light reflective. Like Gloss Gods is there's a couple of palettes in here, at least one, no, there's 2 that are ranked so much higher. I used to have an affiliate code for them as well, but I know they changed their affiliate program, and I just didn't go back through and like do the application process, so I will leave it below. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. This one is another one from Gloss Gods. It's the Your Forever Love. Very similar, you know, just another kind of neutral or nudie, I should say, boring color story. I think I like this one a little bit better because there's an even, well, as much as an even, you know, ratio between mattes and shimmers as you can get. I feel like it just makes more sense. There's much more of a gradient with the mattes instead of there being 3 mattes that just don't necessarily go together. So again, very satin shimmers on this. It's a decently performing palette. I've never had a Gloss Gods palette perform bad for me. It's just kind of on the boring side. I mean, I think I got these because I wanted to try more from Gloss Gods, and there's nothing wrong with having like very wearable to the office palettes in your collection. I think that's why I had these, and I think for now I would definitely hold on to both of them, but they're just like neutral, and as far as like even neutral palettes I have in my collection, there are some that are just more fun. This next one is from Makeup Ritualz. It's the To Love Thyself palette. It's a decent performing palette, but the mattes are very, very, very hard pressed in the pan. So they were always like pretty difficult for me to 1, get a swatch, 2, to build up the pigment with a fluffy brush. They're easier to like swatch out on your hand than they are to put on the eyes because they're so hard pressed. I think only the brown shade in the corner is not hard pressed. The rest of them are kind of hard panning in some areas of the pan, and the blue is like so difficult to get up with a fluffy brush. It was like barely building on my eyes. I actually think that it's a blue palette with like neutrals. That's what this is, and I think that they do it well enough because you have 2 shades of blue, mid-tone, deep shade, and that shimmer leans pinkish blue. So it fits with the 2 blues. Then you have a pink and a pinky copper shimmer. So like a lot of this makes sense. You can go neutral and you can go blue. Not a bad color story. There are definitely 2 or 3 looks that I can get out of this, no problem, easily, that look different. I think I just didn't love how desaturated the mattes were and how hard pressed they were in the pan. All right, from one of my favorite brands, and I do have a discount code, this is one of their older formulations from DD Signature. It's the Neutral Wonder palette. You know, there's so many things I like about DD Signature's formula, even old and new, but this one I don't think like hit for me super duper hard. A lot of these had a ton of binding oils that leaked into my palette. before they even arrived. So the pan's been wet for a long time. You know, what I love about Dee Dee is usually like when she does palettes like this, they're curated to go in columns, boom, boom, boom. And so it makes sense. You're not struggling to see what matte should go with what shimmer, and like it goes in a gradient, like everything that I think that you need if you're starting out and looking at a palette and its color story, Dee Dee gives you in a lot of these palettes like this. I think the quality in this wasn't at her best. I got hard panning in the second to lightest brown shade, very difficult to pick up. It was a little bit patchy, and some of these shimmers are not her best formula. In fact, they're a little bit on the boring side. They're very just like satin, except the one in the far corner. The cranberry shade is very, very foily, and it does crease on me. So a lot of different things that were, you know, I can comment about this that just didn't make it absolutely perfect. But again, one of my absolutely favorite brands. I've ranked her palettes like #1 in my rankings before. And I do have more of her palettes that rank higher. I don't know, this one just, for all of those reasons, wasn't her best, but this is her older formulation. All right, next up, you guys, is from Salem Cosmetics in collaboration with Sassy Fairy. It's the In My Dreams palette. This one has nothing to do with the quality. I think the quality on this was really good. I think the only shade that is very hard pressed that was hard to pick up was Sleep Paralysis, which is the deep navy blue shade. Very difficult to pick up on a brush, but very good color story. The only confusion for me was the red. I always had a hard time placing that red. Again, I don't do traditional blue reds in the outer corner. If I do them, they have to be like burgundies or like a brownie red, like a rusty red or something like that. I think the red was out of place, but everything else makes sense. You have different shimmer formulations in here. You know, the one that's a little bit more satin, but it has like a little bit of a flip to it. It's the white shade, and then you have two chunky foily shades that are very pretty. I think for me, I don't love the color story overall. I'm not somebody who grabs for blues and purples that often. And I think when I was looking for Salem Cosmetics, I think this was one of the more affordable palettes, or one of the only available palettes at the time. So I wanted to purchase something to test it. For me, I don't think that like quality overall is something that I would come after for this palette. I think it's mostly a color story thing for me. And it's a personal preference. Again, the only out of place one that I found was really that red. I had a hard time placing it because the white is like actually a purpley blue. So it doesn't really go with the red. It goes with the other shades, and that makes total sense to me. But the red, I just didn't know where to go with it. All right, this next one I do have a discount code with. Again, one of my favorite brands. I just don't think that the color story was really hitting for me. It's the Morally Gray palette from Bella Beaute Bar. I love the little heart pans. It's really cute, but it's so one note for me. The two shades at the bottom, the deepening shades, are basically identical in the eyes, and then the light ones are so lightly pigmented they barely were showing up on me. So very, very one note. I was getting the same look over and over again. You know, when it comes to cream shades in a palette where you're trying to go like super light to super dark, I don't know, some of them just are my eye color and they never show up for me. Unlike a bright white, which totally makes sense, this cream one in a 9-pan like this, I felt like, ooh, it just took up space for me personally. And then the very light pink shade, I don't think was showing up very much. It's just a very desaturated color story in general. It's on the gray side. It just felt very one note. My favorite thing about these is the shimmers, but every single one of them is literally the same like formulation. They're just very chunky, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that they're pretty much all like that. And usually for me, I want a little bit of variety. I love when there's a variety of smooth shimmers and chunky shimmers, because when I'm playing with a palette, I guess there are times where I want to play with it, but I'm also like a little bit in a rush. And there are times where I have time to work with a little bit of a chunky shimmer. So I don't know. This just felt like overall very one note. Like even with 9 pans, we could have made those two mattes in the outer corner have a little bit of differentiation. And I think some of the mid-tone or transition shades could have been a little bit deeper. All right, do not hate me for this. Please do not. This is the very first palette that I tried from this brand, and I just hate the color story overall. Okay? And it's my fault. It's totally my fault. It's not its fault necessarily. This is the Sickly Sweet palette from Blend Buddy Cosmetics. Let me explain myself here. So It is a pastel palette. And normally I'm not into pastels, but because this palette had pastels with deepening shades, I thought to myself, okay, this totally makes sense. I can go light and use a pastel for a transition and then deepen in the outer corner with the deep matte shades. I'm so confused though about the deep matte shade color. You have one that is a full ass gray shade. What am I doing with a grayish blue shade in the outer corner with pastel colors? I couldn't figure it out. The teal's kind of okay. The blue is kind of okay, but the brown, I don't know, there's like 2 shades in here that I would pair with a brown in the outer corner. The purples, that actually makes a little bit of sense. Although I think the deep purples, they come out very similar on the eyes. You guys, I struggled with this so much because these are not shades in the deep tones that I would pair with these pastels. That's what it was. It was like, okay, I wanna go to a gradient. I wanna have a transition here. And I just felt like it was like all or nothing. You're gonna do a deep or you're gonna do pastel. You're not gonna do both because they don't mix together. And I'm telling you, that gray matte, the deep gray one, it's almost like black. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. People who are more talented than me in doing eyeshadows and coming up with looks might understand this a lot better than I do. And so for me, you know, it's just a me thing. The quality of it is great. I will say Blend Bunny shimmer formula, all the same. Like sparkly, thin, there's not a lot of foiled, you don't get a lot of flips. They are a very, very standard metallic formula. So I think I was expecting more from this. I think the deep mattes really confused me. And I think that the shimmer formulation didn't knock me off my seat. I definitely have shimmer formulations in other palettes that are just as good as this or better. So I have another Blend Bunny Cosmetics palette I ranked so much higher. This one, it kind of wasn't it for me. All right, this next one, that same friend that gave me that palette at work gave me this one as well from r.e.m. Beauty. It's the Principessa palette. I mean, you know, it's little tiny pans. It's fine. I created a couple of looks with this. It was basically all the same. I just kind of changed the shimmer, but it was so freaking pretty. I wore it on Christmas Day. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like, it performed and it did what I wanted and it stayed put and it looked good all night long. And it was like a very, very pretty smoky eye with like a pop of red. It looked so good together. So I'm not hating on this. The shimmer formula is very standard, very satin standard shimmer formulation, no light reflection whatsoever. Again, you kind of need that sometimes, I think. You know, it's just like wedding appropriate. That's what I think. The matte black is the hardest one to work with. It doesn't come out super pigmented, so you're not going super, super deep, I think. Even swatching it is a real struggle, but on the eyes, it's just not super duper black. It's fine. It's fine. It's a fine palette. I honestly would probably keep it. It's fine. Like the smoky look that I got out of it, great, and the matte wasn't too crazy. A little bit more on the desaturated side for the black shade, even though it looks super deep, and that's totally okay. Good smoky eye. All right, I have from Ladybug Glow. I don't know what this is called, but it's a quad of all shimmers. It's pretty. You know, it's so hard to rank palettes that are all shimmer palettes because you're comparing them against other palettes that have mattes and they have more versatility. I just put this here because, oh, I like it. I like all the shimmers. They're very sparkly. They're very different. I was wearing these all on their own, throwing on like an eyeliner, a liquid or a colorful eyeliner, and it was so freaking pretty. I actually really do enjoy the Ladybug Glow eyeshadow formulation. So yeah, I had a really fun time because I love like sparkly shimmers and that each one of these did something different, that it gave me variety. So this was actually really good. All right, this next one is the Snow Bunny palette from Sugar Drizzle. My very first palette that I've tried from Sugar Drizzle. I think it's probably the only one that I have, to be honest with you. And it's interesting. It's just a very, very bright palette. There's like one like weird like greenish, reddish, grayish shimmer, like a flippy multi-chrome. And it's very shimmer heavy overall. It's only got those 2 pops of color that are mattes that are mid-tone shades. So, you know, it's kind of an all over the place palette, but I liked it. I kind of thought of this more as like an all shimmer palette because I was kind of wearing all neither shimmers. And again, treating it like the Ladybug Glow one where I was wearing it like all on its own and then throwing on a liner and just letting that like be a single shade. And so for that's kind of how I'm ranking this palette. I will say with the one matte shade in the bottom, the pink one, it's hard panned. It's almost fully hard panned. I really struggled with that. The orange one, not so much. It wasn't hard pressed in there. The shimmer formula is good though. It's different. Some of them are smooth smooth. There's a couple in here that are like sparkly and shifty, and there's one that's like that rainbow multicolored one, and I was just like swiping it on my eye with a finger, like solid finger, and kind of going around with it. I thought it was really good. I don't know if I'm gonna love the Sugar Drizzle matte formula. I don't think this one necessarily was like a hit for me. All right, the next one up is again from Bella Beaute Bar. It's the Angles of Illumination palette. Again, I feel strange like ranking all shimmer palettes, but this one is very, very blue. You have 16 shades on a palette, and then half of them super heavy on the blue. And most of these are very chunky. I mean, there's some of them that are smooth. I won't say that they're all the same formulation because they're not. It's just very, very heavy on the blue. I don't think I realized that when I picked it up. And I don't know, I thought there would be a little bit more variety, and I just feel like it felt very blue on the eyes. When you use a shimmer, it's very easy, I think, when you make an all shimmer palette like this, for the shimmers to look super similar, and that's just kind of what I was getting. And two of these shades I think are exactly the same shade. I think they even mentioned that Moonlight and Gleam, they accidentally like had some in here that they came like two that were exactly the same, or maybe they didn't, I don't remember, but two of the shades are literally identical shades, and that's two of the non-blue ones. So yeah, I think it was just too heavy on the blue for me. All right, now we're getting into a bunch of palettes where it's like good. It's like good from here on out, essentially. A lot of these just come down to like usability. That's kind of what it comes down to, or like even color story in some cases. I really enjoyed this one, The End of the Rainbow by Ladybug Glow and Ice Cream Beauty. I just think it's kind of like an all crazy palette. I think that's like what it is. The formula was good, nothing hard panned. You get some desaturated shades, but you've got like lighter shades and mid-tone shades. You're just mixing. This is just a fun, like bright with neutral palette. And I think some of the shades are a little out of place, you know? I think it just usability, but the quality was really good. Some of the other ones that I was talking to you about had like quality issues, hard panning or patchiness. I do think this is just like a very strange color story that I was having fun with. I was creating like different looks, you know, I kind of wasn't going like your traditional route, but I didn't have any trouble like pairing any of the shades together. I think the only one I struggled with was the blue in the middle. I think I wore this on its own. I don't think I could pair it with any of the mattes. It's not a shade I would typically pair with like a deep green in the outer corner, or like even the gray wasn't necessarily great, but that's it. The other ones I was placing, I was doing okay. I was creating like fun pops of color. The quality in this was really good. The shimmer formula was also really good. I like the flippy, like iridescent, you know, kind of translucent white shade. It was really fun. It's just an interesting color story overall, not like the most usable palette for me. The next one up I have is the Morphe palette. It's the Rich Glitch color story of these that they have like reformulated, and there was a bunch that released in this kind of packaging, very similar to what MAC did in 23 and 24. You know, again, kind of one note. It's very neutral. You have a creamy shade that doesn't do a lot for me. I'm not going to diffuse that deeper shade out in the outer corner with that. And it is my skin tone. So of a 6-pan palette, it's kind of like a shade I can't really use. But you do have a transition shade and a deeper matte shade, which is nice. The funnest thing about this palette is the two very sparkly shades in the middle. They're like baked shadows. I was wearing the deep one all on its own. I really like the sparkly one at the top. It was nice. It's just like the same look over and over again. So good quality, very fun shimmers in the middle. You do have one shimmer that is kind of your standard like satin, very traditional, not very light reflecting shade. Again, one note, one look, but still good quality, and I had fun with those sparkly shades in the middle. This next one up is from a brand that closed, from Colored Raine. It's the Safari Raine palette. Oh my gosh, such good quality. These shimmers are very light reflecting. They're also super intensely pigmented and rich, and they just look so beautiful in the eyes. And this color story is delicious. It's so good for what I like. I love building like a very, I don't know, grungy with orange shades and brown shades and green shades, like very warm toned deliciousness with like cool tone greens. Had a lot of fun. Very, very good quality. On the more desaturated side, but like that's what this palette is meant to be. So it does good in what it's supposed to do. So I really, really enjoyed this palette. Again, I'm telling you guys, from like here on out, I enjoyed most of these palettes, and none of them really had like formula issues, like one or two things, and you'll hear me say it, but mostly these are just great. The next one up is the Samarian Sunset from Adept Cosmetics. Oh, Oh, did I just finish telling you guys that I love the orange with greens? I just think those are so beautiful together. Again, very desaturated on the matte side, and the gelade shade, I don't know, it's kind of like a nothing shade for me. It's very close to my skin tone that it doesn't do a lot. The shimmer formulation from Adept I think is just where it's at. They're harder to work with in most cases because they're very chunky, very foiled, a lot of binding oils. Some of them are very smushy, but you do have some softer ones in here, ones that aren't very chunky, that are just more on the sparkly side. And so good, so good. I don't think the mattes here complement every single one of the shimmer shades, as it were. You know, you've got some deep burgundies in here that don't go with the mattes, but I don't know, I don't buy the Adept Cosmetics palettes for the matte shade. The mattes in here were fine. In some Adept Cosmetics palettes I've had trouble with like patchy mattes, but I didn't have that with this. I don't know. Packaging is cute. The color story is great, and as far as like, you know, kind of like an all shimmer palette, it's fun. You've got pinks and reds and burgundies and kind of greens and oranges, and yeah, all good in the hood. Yes, Adept is a little bit more to work with because a lot of those are really chunky, and you know, you gotta use the glitter glue, or at least I do, and they take longer to work with, but it's still such a great palette. Here's another brand that closed down. It's Bel Cosmetics. It's the Break the Rules palette. You know, it was hard to rank the Adept and then this one because this is like not as many shades. It's again an all shimmer palette, but Adept, you know, does a really good job with shimmers. It was just that there was so much variety in this one. There was a lot that I was like never ever looking the same when I use this palette, not once. You have a pink, an orange, a green, a purple to blue, a deeper green, one that is your traditional brown base with like the silvery blue on top, a red, and then a deeper pink. I mean, none of these shades look the same. So every time I came up with a look, it always looked different. And that was special about this. Some of these are a little bit chunky, but they're all very light reflecting. Just honestly, it was really good. It was a really good all shimmer palette. I'm not gonna lie. I think that I really enjoy variety in an all shimmer palette. I don't want any of the damn shades to look the same. All right, this is another delicious delight from SD Cosmetics. It's the Garden of Love palette. You know, these come as singles, and then you have to like buy this palette separately, or at least I think that's how I did it. And then you pop these in here. Again, stop it. Every look is different. You have a white translucent, a pink, a deep purple, a gray, a deep pink, and then like a black based green. The best thing about SD Cosmetics, they sparkle like nobody's business. They're so sparkly and they're so damn pretty on the eyes. Yes, they're a little crumbly. They're like hand pressed, hand poured, hand pressed. They're very soft. They do create a lot of fallout, but the sparkliness in them is just to die for. You cannot like say that they're not sparkly and beautiful on the eyes. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. All different, very sparkly, very pretty. All right, the next are from Glamatrix Cosmetics. There's the 3 of them. They came out with 4 of these 6-pan palettes, and this one is the Elegant Eyes, which is the neutral one. You get an even number of shimmers to an even number of mattes, and they all make sense. It goes light, mid-tone, and then deep, and it does the same thing with the shimmers. Both the mattes and the shimmer do that. I love Glamatrix Cosmetic formula. Love it. Love it. I have ranked Glamatrix Cosmetics top #1 many years in a row. Wasn't on purpose. I just did it based on how they performed and my feeling for the palette. But these ones just hit a little bit slower. These ones were patchy a little bit. Especially this one, this neutral one, because this is the neutral of the 6 pans. This one was the patchiest on me for whatever dang reason. I love Glamatrix packaging too. I freaking love Glamatrix. I want a discount code with this brand. I do, because I freaking love them, okay? Yeah, the patchiness in the deep brown shade is what got me. That's why that one ranked where it did. And above this one. This one is the Entrancing Eyes from Glamatrix, and it's like the purpley color story. I liked it. I do. You know what I didn't love? I didn't love the Splendid shade in the middle. I don't know why. It was like too bright for the other 2 colors, but otherwise delicious. You know, everything totally makes sense in a gradient like this. A lighter mid-tone and a deep shimmer, and you do the same with the mattes. Yikes. So good for a 6-pan. But my favorite of all 3 was the green color story in Exquisite Eyes. I don't know, just the versatility here. The looks just came out so delicious, and the shimmers are so nice, and they're not all the same either. Like in these 3 palettes, you have one that's like more chunky, a multi-chrome, and then one that's just a softer very straightforward kind of shifty shade, you know, not chunky, just very smooth. This one had the least problems in terms of like putting a look together, but also it wasn't patchy at all. So that's why I ranked these three together. Very similar quality. You know, they're all 6 pans. I just feel like they kind of had to go together, but the green one was definitely my favorite. All right, coming in next is the Cool Trolls palette from Cosmic Beauty. You know, I thought that they stepped up the quality when they came out with this one and the Nude Trolls, more so than the Muse, which was like their second palette that they launched. I had some struggle with like the matte shades and the patchiness, and that they would come out like different colors on the eyes and they looked in the pan. You know, this is just very nice for what it is. It's a very cool tone palette and it's neutrals with blues. I mean, it's great. There's some similarities in some of the shimmer shades, but then some of them are multi-chromes and some of them are, they're just very different looking on the eyes when you actually get them there. I think this ranked where it did simply because I'm not a huge fan of blues. I got it for mostly the neutrals, and because I love testing the formulation, and because I loved the color story of the Muse so much, I wanted to pick up something else that I would fall in love with because people kept saying the formula was so good. I only have like 3 palettes from them, so I definitely will keep trying them, but I have like tried to be careful what color stories I picked up. But this one, it just ranked where it did because it's blues. Now the blues are fabulous. There's a couple of similarities in the blues, I'm not gonna lie, like 2 of them look very, very similar on the eyes, but other than that, it is a very good performing palette. Here's another one from Ladybug Glow. This is the Magical Creation palette. You can't get this anymore, but I think it did release in 25. I know that it's only 5 shades. I know that, I get it. But it's got 3 shimmers that are all super different. A translucent shifty one that is a sparkly pink, and one that is a super, super sparkly purple silver. I'm sorry, you know, if you give me a 5 pan and everything about it hits every single time, I'm probably gonna rank it pretty high. I guess I'm easy to please in that way. And they're very different too, so. And the mattes were very good quality. These are a little bit more powdery than the other Ladybug Glow palette that I showed you guys, the one that has more mattes in it, not the all shimmer. But I like them together, I did. And I would pair the pink with the brown every single time and just rotate the shimmer. And I thought the shimmers were different enough that my looks came out different. So I just thoroughly enjoyed this little 5 pan sucker. All right, the next one up is from Raine. This is the Happy Go Lucky palette. It's all right. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's like a very traditionally, you know, kind of neutral palette with that one pop of like sea green or seafoam green shimmer in the middle. I mean, I think it was okay. Cottontail doesn't really show up on me too much, but I love the gradient here. I think it was an overall like decently quality palette. Again, I just kind of felt like this is one note. You're kind of doing 2 looks and only 2 looks ever. There isn't like a ton that I feel like you could kind of do with this. So quality was really good. This is not like Raine's like very chunky foiled kind of shimmer formula. It's more metallic than anything. Not super smooth, but not immensely foily. All right, here's the one that I was talking about from Gloss Gods, or one of them. The Look for Rainbows palettes comes up next. This is an all shimmer palette. Stop it. This one ranked higher, I think, than the one from Bel Cosmetics because there's just more flippy shades in here. You've got like 2 really, really smooth multi-chromes that are just super duper fun. Super duper fun. They're purple to blue and then green to blue. I really just enjoyed that. I just had a lot of fun with them. I think that you do get a lot of blues in this palette. Again, you've got like a whole left row that are blue and 3 or 4 that are purple. Although that purple is a blue purple, so I'm not thinking about the multi-chromes here. It just performed the best. Quite honestly, these are like the most light reflecting of all the shimmers. Like the Bel Cosmetic ones, they looked very different, but they weren't super light reflecting the way that these ones are. Gloss Gods is a really good shimmer formulation. Their mattes are also fabulous, but I don't regret getting this in any way, shape, or form. I like that some of these shades are more wearable with a lot of pops of colors and 2 multi-chromes. It's from DD Signature. It's the Chromebook Volume 2. This one, she actually threw in some mattes. So the Volume 1 was all shimmers and no mattes in it. Volume 2 does have some mattes in it. I think they're good. You know, that really true green shade is great, but like I don't like true greens in the outer corner. I would prefer it to be like much deeper, like a much cooler base pigment when it comes to a green in the outer corner. So I feel like that one was like a little bit out of place, but the other purple ones I really like. I just kind of think of this as like bonus shades at the bottom, that it's mostly an all shimmer palette. Every single one of these is chunky foily and super light reflecting. Like that's it. Like sparkly and chunky in every one of these. Yes, yes, and yes. I just had a lot of fun with them. I don't think too many of them look very similar on the eyes, and when you think they do, they don't. They flip. So it was really good. There is a ton of binding oils in these though. The least favorite thing about it is all the binding oils that are in here. Dee Signature, her stuff can leak. And I don't know if you can see this pan, but there's like oils all the way through like the center of the palette. That's like my least favorite thing about the shimmers, is just how much binding oil she puts in them. But I mean, I don't know. I just love the way that this looks on the eyes. It's just so fun to play with. All right, next up is another one from Cosmic Beauty. It's the Neutrals palette. It's just very warm and delicious. I'm somebody who loves warm tone shades on the eyes. I'm not a huge fan of cool tones, except when they're done super well, or they just like give you something different. So like there's no surprise that this landed where it did. It's warm tone, fieriness, yes. Ingredients, I had no performance issues with this at all. All these shimmers are very smooth. There's no chunkies, but there's like what, one multichrome and one duochrome and one translucent duochrome. I don't know. You get some variety here. Like it's delicious. It's delicious. The reason the Cool Trolls landed where it did, because it's very similar quality, is just because of all those blues. Whereas this is much more wearable for me. Much more versatility that I can get out of this palette. Still very warm toned neutrals, but I can play with more of the shades. So yay, I really enjoyed that. All right, I think another one from Salem Cosmetics, and this is the Grunge Life palette. I think I just bought those too, but listen, color stories like this do it for me, okay? There's like nothing wrong with them. And I feel like every one of these shades looks different on the eyes. The two greens have very different tones. I think one's like a cooler tone and one's a warmer tone, and one's like brighter and the other one's like not. These are very desaturated shades though in the matte department, except the black, that's pretty dang pigmented. The red in here, like it goes with that black shade and nothing else, that red shimmer. I don't pair it with anything else, but at least it's usable, and that's how I will use it. I love doing red shimmers and blue shimmers with a black matte. I don't know why, I just do, and I think it looks great. Had a lot of fun with this. You get some softer, smoother shimmers and then some foilied ones too. So yes, I don't know. It's a color story. I didn't have any quality issues. I was just overall like, it's just a huge fan of this. All right, this is from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. I don't think you can get this anymore either. And they came as singles that I put into this magnetic palette. Stop it for monochromatic pinks. Stop. The shimmers, they're something else when it comes to Give Me Glow Cosmetics. They will run all the way down your arm on a swatch. They're so pigmented, but they're so light reflecting and like sparkly and delicious looking on the eyes. And the mattes are always so freaking pigmented. Oh my gosh. Give Me Glow probably has one of my favorite matte formulas. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hear a lot of people say that, but I think they do. And shimmers, they knock it out of the park. Hands down, they're unproblematic, but light reflecting, really pigmented. Like I couldn't say enough. The reason this didn't rank higher is because it's a monochromatic pink, okay? I know why I bought it. It's very pretty, but how much do I reach for this? Not all the time. It's not an overly everyday, very usable palette for me, but it serves a purpose. All right, you guys, we have 3 more of my little piles to go through, and this is the good shit chocolate chip, okay? These are the best of the best. The last 2 palettes are like 100%, like hands down. I love the poop out of all of those, but these are very good. Another one from Dee Signature, the classic Autumn eyeshadow palette. Now, while I think this was probably created around the same time as the other one that I was talking about, I just think that this one performs better. I love, again, when it comes in like rows like this, and it makes sense. You can pair a shimmer with the matte, but you can mix and match, and it's a very autumn themed palette. It's just, I like the quality of this. There weren't any hard panning issues like the other one, and I don't have any leaking with these shades. Kind of the one thing that I don't love about this palette is that these shimmers are all like very pigmented. They're very intense. Like none of them are translucent, none of them are shifty. They're just the color that they are, and they're light reflecting, but they're very pigmented. So, you know, there's just like a difference. Sometimes they're just kind of like very pigmented shimmers, and sometimes they just have like a decent amount of flip to them. These ones are just really pigmented. So, I mean, that would be the only thing that I would say about this, is that they often are like the primary dominant thing on the eye when I use them, but otherwise like performing and color story, This was bomb. Now this next one is a little bit of a cheat because it's actually a single eyeshadow palette from Odin's Eye, and it's like a collection of singles. So their shimmer formula, they do from 0 to like 42. This is 31 through 42, I think. I think that's how it goes. So it's a palette with singles inside of it, even though that's like how you buy it. You know, you don't buy them, you can buy them individually, but it comes like a palette like this. So it's just S31 through S42 is kind of what this palette is called. I really enjoy the Odin's Eye shimmer formula when they do it correctly. Sometimes they're mushy and sometimes they're chunky. And I think this one, for the most part, did okay. My top shade in the very right-hand corner, the white translucent one, is like mush. It's mush. It is mush. I'm not kidding. It doesn't really pick up and it's like goopy. So it is the one shade in here that didn't make it past like quality control in my personal opinion. And sometimes their shimmers and their palettes, they are like that, and that's the reason that I don't like rank Odin's Eye higher. I like all the different colors in here. I like that some are flippy. I like that most of these are very, very wearable shades, and it's like as an all shimmer palette goes, I don't know, I really enjoyed this because I was wearing a lot of these shimmers just like all on their own. Yeah, I don't know why I enjoyed this better than some of the other ones. I guess the variety here, the wearability, the versatility, yeah, that downside is that mushy white shade. All right, my favorite Bel Cosmetics palette of the two that I have tried is the plastic palette. I don't think this is everybody's favorite because it's like, it's more on the neutral side, but here's what I think. I look at this one as like in quads, and I love when it's like that. You can do one quad in the corner, in the middle, and in the outer corner, and they look good together. And you have a black shade in here, so I can pair it with that weird pop of blue. So for me, it's not weird, it like makes sense. It's totally like a different look that I can get from a palette that's mostly pinky neutrals. It just makes sense for me. I love looking at it in quads. I think the shimmer formula was a little bit different than the one in the Sickly Sweet. I just think that there was a little bit more texture to these than your standard kind of like just metallic formula. I thought that these ones were a little bit more light reflecting. I love the matte formulation in here. I love the like bright pops of pink that I was putting in the inner corner. I don't know, it just made sense. It's more of a neutral and a very wearable palette for me, and I love this size way more than like the big ones. I'm not a huge big eyeshadow palette fan overall. I know I hear a lot of people say that, so that's why this one ranked a little bit higher, is because of the usability, the quad, the placement, things were making more sense, and I like this size. All right, my favorite DD Signature palette this year, yes, was the Shattered Romance palette. Oh, stop it. Stop. As far as like a monochromatic palette goes, you've got so much variety in here. I hate seeing 9 pans where shades look similar when you're talking about the mattes, but you have light tones, mid-tones, and then super deep shades, and you have one that is like a sparkly black. I forget what you call those when they have like sparkles in them. 2 super duper foliage shades, and one just like super fiery pinky orange, just standard kind of metallic formula, but it's so light reflecting. Like as far as like a monochromatic palette goes, this would probably be something I would curate. I probably would have taken some of the binding oils out of the 2 very chunky shades, because these again are just like super duper wet, and I think the only reason I can't see them in this palette is because it's like black and glossy and I wouldn't be able to see like the leakage. So I don't see that in this one. Just overall, it's a color story that I love and no quality issues. All right, the next one is from a C Beauty brand. It's called Huaku, and I can't even tell you like what this palette is called. I will put it in the description box for you. Guys, doesn't that look like the Sultry palette from ABH? It is so good. A lot of these shades are a little bit more desaturated. They're not super pigmented, but they're not even deep in and of themselves. But these shimmers are delicious. You get multi-chromes, you get chunky ones, you get foiled ones, you get soft ones. You just get variety in here, and they're all so freaking sparkly, and some of these shades are great one and done shades too. The performance of this is absolutely fabulous. It's soft, it's creamy, it's easy to work with. Like as far as a neutral palette goes, badass. It's like one of my favorite neutral palettes of this year. Just very fun. They did some really fun things with these shimmers, I'm not gonna lie. It was super duper good quality. As far as like C Beauty goes, I think these were more blendable mattes than I find in a lot of C Beauty, which are like, they can be a lot thinner and they're better for packing than they are for blending. Because this is just so neutral, I didn't have any issues with the blending aspect of it. So good. All right, Furrever Cosmetics is next. It's the Warlock of the Wood palette. It is a very cool toned, somewhat desaturated color story, but my goodness, everything performs so well. Ooh, the shimmers are delicious. I could just pluck these shimmers out and I'd be okay with it. But I had fun with everything. 2 tones of blue, 2 tones of brown, 2 tones of gray. Like, to me, it just, like, everything worked really well, even for like a very cool tone desaturated color story. And Diver Cosmetics is fast becoming like one of my favorite brands. I need to pick up more, but I did slow down like buying a lot of eyeshadow palettes this year, but there are some that I still want to get from this brand. All right, another C Beauty is from She Well Makeup. It's the mini of the Somber Garden palette. Another cool tone palette. I know there's a lot of cool tones I'm going over right now, but so good. The only thing that I wish in here is that it had a deeper green. That's it. That is literally it. Every matte shade and every shimmer shade makes sense to me. I just wish that it had a deeper green and I would have been like absolutely golden, because every shimmer pairs with every matte really nicely. I just couldn't go super deep with the green. That's it. There's no quality issues. Like, what you see is what you get. And you got some multi-chromes in here, at least 2 of them, or duochromes. I don't know, but there's some chunky foiled ones and they're super light reflecting. The pans are tiny, but I don't care really. Like, I would rather pay less for the same palette in smaller pans, as long as the quality didn't change, and the quality is great in this. All right, another C Beauty is from Shiriap with Freya 86, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know what this color story is, but I will link it in the description box or throw it up on the screen. It's another very cool tone palette, but it's still another delicious, very light reflecting, very foily. It's just impactful, and it goes from very light to very dark, and I don't think there's any repeats in here. So like, as far as a very nicely curated cool tone palette that gives you variety, like this, I think does that in very cool packaging. Do I love the tiny little pans? No. Do I love the formulation, the color story, the performance? Yes. So all of that is absolutely fabulous. Like, if you were looking for a cool tone palette that had blendability and no, you know, like shimmers that gave you variety but popped, I mean, you couldn't go wrong with this. I was already looking at more like C Beauty palettes online last night thinking I wanted to try more, but you know, I'm gonna refrain. Anyway, this is absolutely fabulous. Okay, we are getting into my absolute favorite palettes. Listen, you can judge me all you want. The quality of every one of these was so freaking good. Freaking good. I'm so excited about these ones. So from NBA Cosmetics, the Furrever Young palette. Don't even think you can get this one anymore. Bam! Look at that. You get a solid row for every, oh, look at this. Down the row, blues. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Blue, purple, pink, and a like more neutrally, like warm neutrals. Oh my gosh, these shimmers are so good. These mattes are so pigmented. You get like a lighter transition shade and then a deeper outer corner shade. And even though this brown out here isn't that super deep, it still works, you know, for that shimmer to be super fiery. Performance really good. No issues with blending. I love the shimmers and I love the rose. Some of these shimmers are so cool, like a fiery orange and like a pinky purple blue. I can't, you guys. The color story is so good. The performance of it is so good. Just delicious. All right, another brand I want to try like a bunch more from. This is the Metamorph palette from Ladybug Cosmetics. Their mattes are so creamy. Their shimmers are so delicious. This is not my favorite color story, but I still had a lot of fun with this palette. You've got some like very poppy colors in here, you know, very bright with some neutral shades. It's kind of all over the place. I don't always know where to put like this green shimmer, like what to pair it with other than like the brown, but that's what I did. The quality is just so good. You've got some chunky foiled ones, but then again, some smooth duochromy, multi-chromes. I don't know which one's this one. I think it has like one multi-chrome in it, but the mattes are so buttery and delicious. I love the quality. I love the quality even if I just don't love the color story over other things. I also love the packaging and I want to get more from them. They've had so many new releases after their rebrand and I feel like they are rebranding again. I don't know. I want them all. All right, this one makes me so sad, but this color story makes me so sick. Okay, it's the Queen Bee from Colored Raine. Stop what you're doing and look. So good. Oh, these are richly pigmented and they're the best, like fiery, warm tone, delicious palette ever. This is my favorite fiery warm tone palette in my whole collection. You got 2 shimmers that are delicious. One is the duochrome. One is a beautiful, very light reflecting orange. Oh, I can't, you guys. Does it speak for itself? The color story is so good. Yes, it's a little like one noted, okay? It's got only like the black shade to deepen in the outer corner. I don't care. I don't care. It is so good. It is so good. This is such a shame that this brand went under because the 2 palettes that I tried from them were fabulous. All right, you guys might hate me for this one, and I've had this one in my collection for a while. From St. Angel's Sinners, it's the Is Blessed palette. You know, a lot of like talk surrounding the owner on this, and I've seen some stuff that she's posted and just been like, what is happening? What is really happening? Aside from that, the quality of St. Angel's Sinners is so good. The matte formulation is probably the best thing about the palette. There are some of the best mattes I've ever tried. Yes, it's green, purple, and black. Great. Okay, I don't even care. There's like a lot of mid-tone greens in here. The performance of this was just fabulous. I'm telling you guys, like the mattes are the best. Even though it's a wild color story, I can't deny how good these mattes perform. They hold their own all day long. They don't fade, they stay in place. They're super blendable. You can also pack them. Such a shame that there's like weird behavior from the owner. I just have to say, because I think I have another one that's also extremely good quality. All right, I want to say that one of you told me they like closed this down and started another brand, and then this was their first release, and then they like just dissolved the brand. I think one of you said that. It's Mad Witch Cosmetics. It's the Chance palette. Look, another weird ass color story, but that just like every time I use it was so delicious. Again, like sometimes I just go in with like a black in the outer corner and then a very, very bright shimmer. So if you have a black in a palette that has like neutral shimmers and then pops of shimmers, like with a lot of color, it's okay with me. I'm usually able to put a look together. Are there 2 colors of gray? A brown, a black, and then a very transitioned shade with a pink shimmer? Yes, all of that is so true. But the quality is so good. I just couldn't. The quality is so good. The quality is so good. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. If I haven't described to you like why off color stories like this still work for me, I'm not going to be able to any more than this. It is quite genuinely that the performance of these is just absolutely fabulous, and that somehow, even though they seem like strange color stories, they just totally work. You have like a bright white shade with like a super silver shade, a fiery orange, like there's like a black that is like a gold shift. Man, I wore this one day and people were like, oh my god, your eyeshadow looks so good. It's just like I don't know, it's so good. It's so beautiful on the eyes, you guys. I'm sorry that if that brand went and it went wherever it did, and I'm just gonna have to check out what she opened next because I think this formulation was fabulous. All right, my very favorite one from Gloss Gods this year, not a new palette, not even sure you can get it, but the ones that I tried was the Gon Fenus. Wait till you see the color story. It is so delicious. This is the very good like Gloss Gods like matte formulation where everything blends very beautifully together. You get rich pigment, you get different tones in a palette like this where you have like transitions, mid-tone, and like maybe just one deep shade, that's fine. But you get some chunky foils, you get ones that are multi-chromes that are very smooth and flat, and then you get your kind of standard metallic formula, and that like pop of yellow, that's like a satin shimmer. So it was like mostly inner corner work. I think I laid it all over the lid. I'm sorry, warm tones are good and there's variety and the quality was here, so I had to give it to this freaking thing. I love color stories like this, but it performed too, so there you go. Okay, I keep getting up and grabbing the palettes. We're on to the top five palettes that I tried this year, and I'm sorry, not sorry. I really am. Like, let's just think about this, like, despite the brand itself. Have I been purchasing from the brands that I really don't care about anymore? No. This being one, from Kima Cosmetics, the Bougie Budoir palette. Listen, whatever she did, I do not agree with her behavior, but this palette was fabulous. Her other 2 palettes that I have are also fabulous. I have stopped buying from this brand. I may continue to stay on that hiatus from buying from the brand, but you cannot deny the quality of this. There's so much variety in the shimmers, even though it doesn't look like it. A silver sparkly. You have your traditional taupey, one that's like a taupey super sparkle, one that's chunky. You get some really interesting, like deep shimmers down below, but one that's like a pop of blue. I can't. This is a very, very wearable, very neutral palette that performs in like everything that it does. And I've pretty much used every single shade. Ecstatic and Glam, too similar. Those are the only that's the only criticism I have for this palette, is that the two brown shades come out way too similar on the eyes. The rest of them, oh my god. And it's like an even number of shimmers to an even number of mattes, which is also a criticism of mine. And then I like when there are different textures. If I want something more sparkly, or if I want something more foilied, or I want something that's a little bit more smooth, like variety, color story, usability, quality. Sorry, just be nice. If we could just have owners that aren't doing weird shit and saying mean things to people, that'd be fabulous. All right, this is a re-release. Well, okay, no, they just restocked this, let me say, very recently. So this is available for purchase from Sinful Echoes. It's the Echoes in the Darkness. This is golden. This is delicious. Again, I think I'm drawn to palettes where you have rows that are cohesive, that make sense. I jump around, don't get me wrong, but I love it because then I can see it. If I wanted to do a very traditional gradient look and not mix and match the shades, then it makes sense and things aren't out of place. This is also a very sturdy, very magnetic, not very magnetic, a magnetic palette that is very sturdy, so I really like that. I like the tones in here. It's very grungy. You do get a neutral row, so I do like that. It's wearable. Again, it just makes sense going down the row. These shimmers are delicious. You get one that's like super duper sparkly, and then 3 that are so wearable and smooth on the eyes. Now, these mattes are super, super powdery and very desaturated, but they perform really well. When you get them to the eyes, they're great, okay? There's nothing wrong with blendability, packability, all of that is good. Just overall, like, this is a home run in color story and performance. So now that this is restocked, you guys should check this out if you've never tried anything from Sinful Echoes. All right, I held onto this for way too long. This is the Poppy Quiet palette from Titanium Foxes. I am for sure going to pick up more from this brand. The quality is badass. It's just doing all the things I've said 30 times already, which is it's giving me variety in shimmers. Some are chunky, some are smooth, some are multi-chrome. You know, there's some translucent ones, like a whole row of translucent ones that are very, very fun. You have like neutrality in here, but then pops of color. I think what I'm missing in here is probably like a deeper brown shade. That would have been great for that orange shade, but I think aside from that, it's great. I'm not somebody who does a blue in the outer corner, but I will. I could have taken a deeper green too. Like, that's probably it. But you know, it's kind of like, it does what it's supposed to do. It's a lighter, like mid-tone floral palette is kind of how I think about it. And a lot of like, you know, when you get 3 shades that are like translucent flippy shades, you know, I kind of think of it as like, oh, it's a softer, it's a lighter palette. But the quality in here is so freaking good. And I love what they stand for. Go check out what they say and like their purpose, or like, you know, our mission or whatever on their website. I think that you would quite enjoy it. I know I do. Top 2 palettes. I'm sorry that these landed where they did. They are so freaking good. This brand has landed at my number 1 maybe 2 years. I'm not being biased. It is what it is. So number 2 is the Tones of Turd palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I mean, look at the poop, okay? I don't get offended by this. Like, I think it's fun. If you get offended by something like this, your life is so much shorter than it should be. You should not be spending time getting offended by things that are named of poop. You have the choice to buy this palette. I mean, I'm not offended super easily, and I think that, like, you know, with the limited time you have on the planet, there are so many other things to be bothered by that this isn't one of them. So please, if you're bothered by it, you guys can hop on out right now. I love this. I love the premise of this. The quality of this is just so good. Again, when you're getting looks that go down these rows like this, stop it. I mean, I bounce around a lot in this. These are tones that I really enjoy too. I also get like the chunky ones with like speckles of blue in the shimmers here. You get some softer ones. You get some neutrals too, so this is also like wearable. Even people who don't do eyeshadow, I feel like could pick this up and figure out a look that would suit them. It goes very light to very dark. Everything delicious about this palette, and I think it's funny as can be. Ghost White, Baby Poop, Runny Honey, Number 2, Logjam. Like, they said that they did it as a joke and then everybody wanted it. They came out with one that was like less poop related and it didn't sell out the way that this one did. So it goes to show you there are more people out there that have a good sense of humor than not. But anyway, I just thoroughly enjoyed the quality of this and I think it's funny. I think it's great. Number one palette that I tried this year, also from Glaminatrix Cosmetics, it's the Bonfire palette. It is the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. The quality in this is just like hands down. I think it's better than the Tones of Turd because it's like richer, and for me, I kind of enjoy that with the colors that are in here. But again, it's operating in quads. If you look at it, you got a green quad, an orange red quad, and a very like neutral cool tone brown quad. And you get an even number of shimmers to mattes. So you guys, if you operated in one quad, you have 2 shimmers to work with. Yes, your mattes are going to look very similar, but your shimmers are going to look different. And I think that they're different enough in those 2 shimmers that you could get a different looking look. So if you think about it, 3 quads, 2 looks in each quad, like you're already getting 6 looks out of a palette like this individually. That's without even operating outside of the quad. You guys, it's magnetic. The packaging is heavy and delicious and it has like a little fire on it. They do such a good job with packaging too. The shimmers, I mean, they're more similar in this palette than in the Tones of Turd. I think they feel very similar. I mean, some are a little bit more chunky than others, but they're not super duper foily like some other palettes, you know, when they're very, very chunky. These are a lot less chunky than that. You can mix and match these though. You want to move these around, you can do that. Like everything about this is great. Blendability, buildability, the way these perform together, the variations, oh, the light reflectiveness, the packaging. I just love the color story overall in general. Okay, I'm done now. I think I made it without like all of my stuff transferring. Yes, it was a different look for me. I wanted to try the black. I got to try it. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but I did it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please let me know in the comments below if you guys agreed with me, if you disagreed. Like, I love it all. Just give me the feedback. I have also created the members only channel, so you guys can now subscribe to my membership, where I'm going to be doing probably a lot of different looks of the palettes that I still have, oh my gosh, over there, that I'm not actually filming with, that are a little bit older, putting looks together. So if you guys are interested, I do have my new memberships. It's just 1 tier. Anybody who wants to subscribe, I will be posting like, you know, things I'm receiving in PR, like new makeup I will have as like, you know, an early release, memberships only, and probably looks that I'll put together with the palettes that are still hanging around. I probably have like 30 left that I still haven't tested, that I'm not testing on camera, that I'm just testing privately. So if you guys are interested, please check that out. I do have 1 member. Thank you. You know who you are. I just recently started it, but I'm kind of waiting for a couple more people to join so I can put those videos out there. So if you guys are interested, you know, thank you to those who do join. That is all I have for today. You guys know what I say. If you're not currently subscribed, I'd love to see you subscribe. You guys, I'm out of here and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.